So, are we ready to begin a ghost story? Go ahead, take it away, Average. You got this.
Um, I have a couple real ones. I'm nowhere near being to.
We'll let Average go first. Yeah, well, I'm live streaming it, so they'll be able to hear you guys and myself.
What do you mean, not you? Why?
Yeah, well, I have mine set up to where, so, because I'm live streaming right now, so I get you guys' voice. You'll be able to hear
Probably
your voice
not,
after the
because
stream's done.
probably I don't think they can because you have your thing turned like where it can't be picked up on stream. On black.
Okay, well, I'm gonna test it right now because I'm live streaming it. We are live streaming. Now, say something real quick. We are live streaming. Now, say something real quick. Yep, I got you. You got the goat sound. Yep, I got you. You got the goat sound. All right. So, go ahead, Average. We're listening.
Okay, these are totally different times. I'm just gonna combine them. So
Go
this
ahead. The
is this
best
is
kind of stories are first experiences.
um this is not like one of those made up ones you tell as a freaking kid, but like um this happened a couple times when I was home. Um, I was in the living room chilling, like about
Turn
to
my
do something, and uh I was like listening to music, and I had one earbud out, and like I heard a voice in my ear. It said no, and then and I got a little freaked out. I was like, what? And then another time, a couple of years ago, I believe, um, me and my sister just got home, and we were talking in the kitchen, and I was the only one that heard this. She did not hear what I heard, but I heard someone like coughing. I heard a coughing come from my room, but no one was home besides me and my sister. And I don't know how she didn't hear that, but I heard it.
Wow, that's crazy. You know, it's crazy when you ever run into a ghost or have some sort of ghostly supernatural experience. It does a number to some people.
No, that's it. It was very short, but like, yeah.
Hey, you know what? The best kind of stories come from experience. If you ever have a ghost encounter, you should really dig into some of the history and research of it. That's creepy.
It's just it's the shit. Yeah. And then I was we actually had investigators coming, and we counted 14 orbs, you know, like spiritual orbs, by the wood burning stove that was out back. It was removed from the house for whatever reason. Like there was definitely some bad juju around that place. Makes me wonder, you know, why they were circling it, but anything could have happened. Um, but there was one time, like there was a huge fire in the restaurant, and there was one time I was on the phone, and the other person on the phone didn't hear it at all, but I heard this woman screaming. Sounded like she was being burnt alive.
Mm.
It was the scariest thing that ever happened to me.
Wow. Man. Dude, that's insane. That's really good. That's really freaking creepy. Cause at my job, my other job, working security, um, there was a an incident that happened sometime in the '80s. A man owned a store, and it was during the time racism was bad, big time racism, and he was a Mexican guy, and he had his own business. He was doing really well for himself, and then these folks come in and start trouble, and he tries to tell them to leave, and they left, and then they came back an hour later and torched his store with him in it, and they said that he didn't he tried to get out of the room, but these guys barred the door, blocking him from exiting, burning him alive. And while that happens, around the time of, like, I think November, it's like in the like towards the end of the month of November. Uh, and if you're walking the halls at night, you actually can hear somebody talking, or you'll hear Spanish music. And this if you look into the peephole, or the crack of the door, of the old former door, it's a wall, but there's a hole in there. You can actually see a pair of walking pants moving around in there, and there's nothing in there.
That's crazy. So
He's here. He's sitting right next to us.
he changed again.
Yeah.
He felt subconscious about what he was wearing.
So here's another ghost story. I read up on this. In Finland, there is an old but still inhabited yellow apartment situated in a small city near an important railroad. Almost all of the people living there are over 70 years old. And in fact, it seems that younger people simply won't stay there for longer than a year. If you live there, you will soon notice several unusual things. In the basement, the text, "Turn on the light, turn off the light when you leave," is written next to every switch in the building. It's unusual to remind somebody of something so obvious, but here it is of critical importance. People who forget something in the basement never return to pick it up. If you offer to go and retrieve it for them, they will stop you from doing so. There is one door there between some storage doors, and has no numbers on it. Instead, the door has a worn-out nameplate on it. The people in the flat will tell you to leave that door alone. It is said that people who have peeked in the keyhole have seen very unsettling things. The wires and pipes in the basement look amazingly old, yet still the house has perfectly functioning water, electricity, and phone lines. The laundry room, which is the basement now, must be reserved if you want to use it. If you go there without reserving of time first, you will at first get weird looks and some scolding. Then people will more ominously and angrily warn you. These things seem minor, but those, usually the young ones, who have got too curious or failed to follow the rules have ended up either dead, crippled, or insane. Usually people say that these incidents were the result of drug use or alcoholism, but some of the freak accidents cannot be explained by anything. I used to go and help my grandmother, who lived in the apartment, and I have seen several times how ambulances have dragged away young people who have missed an arm. Sometimes some other parts too. The worst case was when a corpse was found that looked like an explosion victim in the laundry room. His guts were splattered all around the room, and his left arm was sitting on top of the washing machine. Before her death, my grandmother told that she knows what's behind these incidents. After the Second World War, there was a shortage of apartments, and one war veteran who had lost his left arm was given a rudimentary room in the basement for no cost if he would help people do laundry and help the janitor. He did, but eventually someone insulted him one way or another. The veteran killed that youngster and himself. Ever since, his spirit has been there, harshly punishing those who fail to follow orders or rules of his home. After telling this, she told me that I should never, ever return to the apartment, as I knew too much. As I left the apartment for the last time, I could see the figure of an old man missing his left arm staring at me, reflected on the large glass panel on the door to the stairway. That's that story. Pretty creepy. Did I ever tell you about the story? I don't think I told anybody the story. I actually ventured off with my friends. This is when I started ghost hunting as a kid. We went into an old airfield or an old airplane hangar, and we had our video cameras, and it was back then where video cameras used not the digital cameras but the videotapes. And while we went in to investigate this place, there was a story of a man who hung himself there using chains, and he was a very quiet man who kept to himself, but he was always judged by others because of what he did. Like, all he did was all his friends advanced into working good job, but he loved working on airplanes. You know, he wanted to do that. And he fell in love with this woman, and everything was happy for about 5 years, according to the story. That was until his woman that ended up thinking that he loved so much ended up having an affair with one of his friends, who was a high-paying like attorney or some sort of person like that, and he ended up catching the guy in the act, and he ended up taking his wedding ring off and using one of those vice grips and just shattered it into pieces. I don't know how he managed to pull it off, but he did. Then he went upstairs to the third or fourth floor, and he had a thing for writing like poetry or diaries or something, just to keep him going through the day. And it was like a suicide note that he wrote, and he ended up uh, grieving, and he wrapped a chain around his neck, and he used the hook end of the chain to put it on one of those high-tech ceiling fan looking things that are made of steel, and he threw it up there and then chained his neck up, and he turned the fan on full blast, and the fan, with all that force, picked up his body and twirled him up and snapped his neck until eventually the fan caught up until he got caught to the very end, and the fan broke and fell 4 stories with him still attached to the fan. And he fell down with already dead, but the fan like fell down on him, and it was so heavy that his body was in pieces after it hit the ground. And about 40 years later, because I think this is during the Vietnam War when that guy did that, and I ended up going to the same place where he was with my friends, and we didn't have EMPs or none of that high tech stuff. We just went in with a video camera. That was it, and Polaroid cameras. So we went to so many different rooms. We went to the first floor. There was no event. Did that for about 20 minutes. Went to the second floor. Did that for about 20 minutes. Then when we got to the third floor, we started hearing the sound of dragging chains, and there's nobody there but us. And the chains ended up getting closer and closer to us as we were getting up as we went upstairs. Not thinking anything of it, we went upstairs to the fourth floor where he supposedly killed himself. Um, we saw like old papers, um, and they were brittle, and I couldn't make out the details of it, so I read some of it, and that's how I found out a little bit about the guy whenever I was trying to learn this place. And next thing you know, a big old steel door was lunged across the freaking room where we were, almost hitting us. And then wood was thrown. Nobody was there. So we took off like a bat out of hell going downstairs. And well, by the time we made it to the second floor, these these rattling chains continued to get even heavier or louder, and there was no lights except for our cameras. And right when we made the exit and turned around, we saw the image of a mutilated man with a rusty chain around his neck, and then he disappeared once we blinked. Never went back to that place since.
Interesting. So, West Virginia,
Hmm.
great old West Virginia, Weston has a haunted insane asylum, and it's just a horrible way to die.
Oh man, you're telling me. That's
And it was
scary.
later converted to a prison. There was like they had everything on site to the water, farm, graveyard. The acres when it was done added up to
Wow.
And that's just in the 20th century. There was a whole lot of, like, they actually had a separate wing for people of color.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, in the 1990s, I was a kid, maybe around like 10 years old. And we were visiting our family farm up in North Texas, outside of Dallas, and I experienced paranormal things I couldn't even explain. At the very in North Texas, there was a civil war that happened there, and there was a story about a headless soldier riding a horse, kind of like Sleepy Hollow. Anyway, one day I was playing in the farmyard, and I looked down my great grandfather's dirt road driveway, and at the very end there was nothing really to see, nothing unusual, and it was a day with it was cold. It was cold that day, and it was about to rain. Um, when I was playing with my Ninja Turtles, I was playing with my Ninja Turtles as a kid. Um, I remember that I walked back from a driveway, from the driveway in my great grandfather's house, and I heard a car. I remember hearing a car around, and it looked like an old car. It was like a 1930s car. It looked like someone in the 1930s, or I thought it was my great grandfather's. But then I remembered he drove a truck. I don't know where the car came from, but I didn't see it coming up the road any time at all when I was out there. One minute I was playing with my toys, and the next minute I look up, there's a car right there, driving past. The car stopped across the street for a couple of moments because it was like a there was an old shack or an old barn looking house across the way, and it was obviously run down and in ruin. And in the car, I couldn't really see the person like clearly, but I do remember seeing like a shadowy face. I tried to figure out what it was. Um, whatever I was whatever it was that I was looking at in the car, I just couldn't make it out. I was lost. I was confused. Then suddenly the face actually glanced at me for a couple of seconds. It turned around and sped off down the driveway. I didn't run down the driveway. I actually just peeked over to the side because I didn't want to get run over. But the car had completely vanished, like vanished into thin air. I ran into the house to tell my great grandpa about it, what I saw, and he said, uh, "Don't worry about it. You're probably just imagining it." So I was like, I told him, I was like, I know what I saw, and it was a weird car. I called it a box car because that's what it looked like to me. It was a box, and he told me that he would hear a car at night sometimes, and sometimes the faint sound of a car engine can be heard at night. I asked if it was the car that if it was this kind of car that I saw, right? And I was curious. So I sat outside on the porch that same night with my great grandpa. There was a heavy thunderstorm that followed, and the lightning lit up the sky. I remember the lightning like a bright light. That's how I remember it, and it scared me because I thought it was going to hit the house because that's how close it was. My mom and them were asleep, So I didn't want to like wake them up or start any trouble. But I know I saw somebody wandering about in the yard across the street under each flash of lightning. I know the details of the figure faintly, but I also know that the figure was really tall, and he would always walk out of my sight, and then the car would start up again, and there was no headlights. As lightning kept striking, it started to scare me even more. So I mentioned it to my mom the next morning, mostly my grandmother, because she was more of a believer than my mom and my brother and uncles. They always tell me I would just imagine things. I was glad when I moved. I was glad to leave the old farmhouse, and then years later, now I can faintly remember strange happenings and the memory of the farmhouse that still gives me the creeps.
Where did Legos go?
He's probably wandering around somewhere.
I hear Ghostbusters.
I mean, that's another one of my stories. It's crazy.
Who's playing Ghostbusters?
It's Lego.
Lego is. Just so you know, YouTube. For those who are watching my stream, I do not own the rights to Ray Park Jr.'s Ghostbusters theme, so don't strike me with copyright.
Yeah, you sore butthole.
So, that was another story, that happened to me as a kid. What do you think?
I
have,
like it.
huh?
I would sing a lullaby.
You like?
After the 2 stories I've heard, I don't know if that'll be enough.
A lullaby?
I don't. I don't. I was. I was paying attention the entire time, and I was so interested. I got comfortable in my chair with a snuggie and just sat there listening.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
But I have to do it,
You can't. You
okay?
you you can't.
No, don't tie me.
He'll be in our party soon. I gotta invite him.
No, don't do. No.
I just want to tie you up. I don't want to take you anywhere or do anything with you.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna walk away now. I'll be in the.
I'll ask you what you do is good enough. He won't let me tie you up. He's got this party settings and some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Sorry. I wanted to tie up these ugly friends too. It's how I get to know people. I tie you up, I put you on the back of my horse,
So I'll be right back. I gotta go do something real quick with the door because the door's not locking, so I gotta make sure I lock it. I'll be right back with some more ghost stories.
Oh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I can't get it now.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, come on.
just for you.
what's for me.
Yay! I'm an adult virgin. Do 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 do. What? You know you laughed at it. So shut your mouth.
You know what I want? I want the bounty hunter variants of the skull fields.
Ooh.
So, Pasta, you're gonna have to add me as a friend because I can't add you because of your settings.
Oh, okay.
They call them El Macho.
And make it a close friend request. That way I can see the details of our profiles.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Alright.
So do it again, add me, so I can add you. Make it a close friend request. Did Average leave? I don't see her anywhere.
She left a while ago, so I think she had to go.
Hmm.
Or she wanted to go play Dead by Daylight and wants to enter the story, or I don't know what she's doing. But she might have just crashed. Maybe her internet went down. Nope, she's still on.
There we go.
I'm friends with
So,
Arthur Morgan. Hell yeah.
I have another ghost story that's actually quite interesting. Um, this was written by This was actually written by somebody who experienced this when they were a teenager. It's like a diary. I am only 13 years old, but this has been happening since I was 7. When I was little, I would walk up to my mom and say, "Mommy, the little girl is here," even though she saw no one.
I don't want to hear this.
One day, she asked me what the little girl looked like. I replied, "I don't know. She talks to me, though." This made my mom think it was an imaginary friend. But then after 2 years, the voice stopped. But on my 10th birthday, things got weird. I was woken up in the middle of the night by a little girl singing "Happy Birthday" to Mama repeatedly. I looked around my room, expecting to see someone, but I didn't. It was that day I decided that this wasn't normal. Over that day I kept hearing things like, "Mama, look what I got you," and "It's time for a cake, Mama, get Daddy." Then that night, as I lay awake, I heard, "Mama, are you mad at me? Can I come sleep in your bed?" So being sick of the situation, I moved over. To my surprise, the sheets moved and shifted to the shape of a girl who was big enough to be maybe 3 years old. I screamed and bolted down the stairs to my mom's room. When I was 12, we moved and the voices stopped. But the dreams began. I was having dreams about a beautiful little girl with blonde hair, green eyes, wearing pink and purple dress, skipping around singing, "Where are you, Mama? I can't find you." This happened night after night for months and months until one day I woke up to the little voice screeching happily and yelling, "Mama, I found you." So on that day I visited my friend's mom, who is a paranormal expert. She held my hand and listened with me as the girl laughed and said, "Mama, who's that?" That was all she needed to hear. She easily told me that what I was hearing was the voice of a girl who would one day be my daughter. So I responded to the little voice saying, "Hi, honey. Tell Mommy your name." And then I heard, "Silly Mama, I'm Ashley." "Ashley," I said. "I've always loved that name and that plan and That name was planned to be the name of my first child. I'm 13, and to this day, I hear the little girl and have dreams about her skipping around and making daisy bunches. One day I woke up with a daisy on my closet door. That's creepy. Gives me chills.
That sounds like the Dead Exodus show.
Oh,
I've been eating a Slim Jim while you've been telling your story, and I almost choked on it.
Very intrigued.
well, that's the whole point of
I,
this Halloween theme October ghost story sharing.
Repeat, repeat. The ball has broken out.
The bull's broken out? What are you talking about?
The ball broken out. It's kind of coming to the camp.
What's coming to the camp?
The ball. You know, the one we chased around, the red dead one.
I don't see a bull. Here's another one. A Japanese girl traveled to Taiwan on holiday. She decided to stay in a cheap hotel to save money. When she got to her room and began to unpack, she realized that the hotel receptionist had given her room 66 on the 6th floor. A chill went down her spine. Technically, that was the number 666. While unpacking her things, she heard someone knocking on the door. Knock, knock, knock. She opened the door, but there was nobody there. She poked her head out and looked around, but she did not see anyone in the corridor. The girl figured it was just her imagination, so she shut the door and resumed unpacking. Suddenly the door knocks again. Knock, knock, knock. This time when she opened the door, there was a woman standing there, right outside, wearing a red bathrobe. The strange woman was crying and shaking. She told the girl that she had accidentally locked herself out of her room. The strange woman also said that she was having problems with her husband, and she was really depressed and suicidal. The girl felt sorry for this strange woman, so she offered to go down to the lobby and get a replacement key for her hotel room. However, when the girl took the elevator down to the lobby, it was empty. She did not find anyone at the reception. She rang the bell, ding, on the desk and waited. After a few minutes, the receptionist appeared and the girl asked her for a replacement key for the room of the woman in the red robe. Receptionist responds, "Woman in the red robe? What woman in a red robe?" "There's a strange woman. She came to my room because she got locked out of her own room." "What are you talking about?" says the receptionist. "We have only one guest staying on the 6th floor today, and that's you." "That can't be true. Can you check again, please?" The receptionist checks, looks through her computers, stuff like that. "Oh, I know. You may not believe this, but it is true. There was a horrible tragedy. A few years ago, a woman was staying here. She was in room 66 on the 6th floor. The very room that you are staying in right now. She and her husband split up and she wanted to commit suicide. But in her madness, she decided that she wanted everyone in the hotel to die with her. So she put on a white robe and carried a shotgun. She went from floor to floor shooting people. There was so much blood everywhere. It was horrible. She was insane, and there was so much blood that her white robes were stained red. And ever since that day, guests who stay on the 6th floor say they see her from time to time." The girl was speechless. The receptionist smiled as she walked out from behind the desk and pointed to a red stain on her own stomach. She calls to the receptionist, and the receptionist ignores her. She calls to again. and the receptionist comes out and sees a gunshot wound in the receptionist's stomach. She was in a house full of ghosts and demons, hell-bent on murder. What'd you think of that one?
Get that damn fish out of my face.
I like that
Someone's gonna
story.
get beat up.
Huh?
Someone's gonna get beat up about that fish.
It's not. I don't have it. It's Legos.
So, I need to know more ghostly experiences from you guys. I've had a lot in my life.
I have no ghost experience.
Oh, I do.
Well, let's hear yours.
All right. Well, have you ever heard of the Navajo skinwalkers?
I've heard urban legends about them, yes.
Well, I wouldn't call them too much urban. Not too long ago,
Really?
actually, pretty frequently, whenever I end up going to, so where I live, it's called like Globe.
Mhm.
Anytime I go to the city or anything, or
Yeah.
the town, usually everything's fine, but depending on who I'm with, or if I'm alone, usually I end up seeing what appears to be a dark figure, usually in either alleyways or on rooftops.
Hmm.
At one point, I decided to go to the park with one of my friends. She's older and she can actually drive, so she usually drives us around. One day while we were at the park, we heard some strange sounds coming from the bushes. I wanted to go investigate, but she told me no. After that, we decided to actually hop into the car and try to drive off. Of course, where the park is at, there's kind of like a three-way stop.
Mhm.
So when we were pulling out, the vehicle stopped working. I didn't I didn't know what was happening. I thought, oh man, I guess we're just gonna have to wait until somebody comes. After us turning around after hearing a banging coming from the back, we saw one. Of course, it's known that to attract them, you might end up whistling throughout the night.
Mhm.
Uh, Moments before that, I was whistling a little tune, which it used to be a little tune that my grandfather used to whistle to me. But apparently it attracted one.
Oh crap.
After the vehicles started working again, we sped off into the town, and we stopped over at the police department, because that's where we felt safe at. A few days later, it was reported that someone was killed in that same area where the park was. Nobody knows where the body went. They just know that they disappeared, never to be seen.
Wow. Oh, that's
A week,
scary.
bad thing, a week later they found the body, but it was very hard to recognize due to it being torn up.
Whoa.
Some damn werewolf shit.
And this is maybe a month ago, okay? There has been countless things going on about the Navajo skinwalkers, and especially in my area. So that's why I keep a 12 gauge underneath my bed, even though that probably won't help me.
Wow.
Table salt's more of your friend.
Yeah, there's actually salt going across my windows and doors.
That's crazy.
Wow. There's that's crazy.
It's a full moon with it.
Is it?
Nope. Oh hell no.
Oh, so your thing is halted?
So, um, I had a friend of mine that I went to school with some years ago. We grew up together. But he told me this story. His first job he actually was given after he graduated high school. He actually was put in a one of those health clinics, mental health clinics, and he said that the people that he was assigned to were very dangerous. Um, he actually he actually tried to maintain safety with the residents there, and he would hear like the folks there like talking like gibberish. Um, but he actually made friends with a man who was a mute. Like them, he didn't really talk to anyone. Um, and my friend was a very good listener. Um, he ended up sharing stories with this man. I don't remember his name. Um, but he would mention things about the past, the present, people involved in both sometimes. The only response that this man did for my friend was he was always nodding. And after working there for several months, he figured he would have actually made a friend with this gentleman. And he wanted to get him out. He wanted to actually have a house. Like he had an apartment, but he wanted to bring this guy home. Because that was like he developed like a bond with him, right? And he kept arguing with a lot of the folks there. The man actually was able to he was a mute. But he still was able to like take care of himself. It was almost as if he just didn't speak. He just stood there and he was just there. He didn't belong there. At least that's how my friend saw it. And he wanted to help him with a job and all that other good stuff. So he ended up writing his name one day. After months of talking to the gentleman, he handed him a piece of paper. I think he said that I'm going to miss somebody that I had talked to. I think that's what he said. And he says, but you can write me anytime. I think this is around the time that my friend was giving up, right? He was giving up trying to fight to bring him home because the clinic wasn't going to allow it. But he made a friend out of this mute. So the man takes the paper and nods. My friend goes home and he feels good about himself. He bragged to me, he bragged to his family, his coworkers, about how he came through to talking to this man, this mute. Like he could go to sleep happy. My friend went to sleep happy every time. He told me that he went to bed one night and his eyes like snapped open suddenly. He heard screams and like loud screams, and they woke him up. Then he said that he had a dream about this man. Like you ever have those dreams where it feels like you're asleep but you feel like you're awake but you're dreaming still? Like
Yeah.
that. And what my friend told me was very, very creepy. And he says he saw his mom, his dad, friends, classmates, his co-workers, all lying on the floor of his house, soaked in blood. And his walls were stained with all sorts of freaking like carnal type stuff, like almost like chaos happened. Heads were bashed in, eyes missing from their sockets. Everyone he knew was dead or dying. And he would look in the doorway and whimper and see a man standing in the doorway. And it's the man that he made friends with at the clinic, holding a piece of paper given to him. And his body started shaking, and the man attacked him and started strangling him. And as he strangles him, he just kept nodding. And then after fighting, he wakes up from this freaking nightmare. How creepy is that?
Oh, yikes.
So my friend ended up putting in his resignation, and he never went back to work at a clinic like that again.
Heck, I don't blame him.
So, oh man, I don't know all the details about the story. My friend told this to me some years ago. I'm surprised I'm actually able to remember bits and pieces of it. It was more graphic than the way I explained it. All I know is that he thought he did something good, but instead he terrified himself by having that nightmare about his friend that he made over there.
Interesting.
So what other urban legends do we need to share with each other?
But I know too many.
Lego, what about you? You've been looking in that catalog for a good few minutes.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't paying attention half the time.
Wow.
You can look back at the stream if you ever do. I take it that my stories creeped you out. That's why you opened up your catalog.
I'll just watch this again with thought.
Yet I still think that's just an excuse. I creeped you out, didn't I?
No.
Liar.
Won't believe it. I'm gonna get some alligators right now. I'm knitting, or crochet.
I will slap
I
you
think
with
that's
a
another
fist.
creative hobby
Oh yeah?
over there. Yep. Oh, that's my outfit though.
How's that?
I like it. I don't know where my fish
Cool
went.
outfit, Hosea. I like it. But what? So how's knitting? Is knitting hard?
Crocheting.
Yeah.
Surprising, yes. Keep fucking it up. They're not even. It is really hard to make each little loop even. And it matters if they're not. You can tell if they're not. Someone just threw a fish at me.
How do you throw a fit? Oh, you pick it up and just toss it. Okay.
Yeah. Like this.
I don't want to play with your girlfriend, thank you.
Are you sure about that? It's pretty long. Got a nice wide mouth. She kisses. She kisses it.
But so those. I'm glad you guys are here sharing this. This is actually episode 1 of sharing ghost stories during the Red Dead Redemption Halloween month of October. Yeah, well,
I think my horse likes you.
yeah, you can share your story, but I mean, this is meant for like ghost stories and stuff. That's why I'm making the stream.
Once there was an ugly barnacle. It was so ugly that everyone died.
Shut up.
Patrick.
Wow. My horse, damn it.
Yeah, I said now, children.
It's okay, my fish is okay.
Hold on. You look like a zombie.
We all look like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, zombie.
well,
Zombie.
we all look
Oh my
like zombies now and
god!
then.
Oh my god, look at...
Mm.
It looks like she's got a big hole
What?
in her stomach, in her arm. Oh my god. Oh my god. Not that hole, Lego, you nasty.
No, I see it.
Oh,
I see the hole you're talking about.
that is crazy.
Yes, see, I'm not going crazy.
She's
Oh,
even
there's a big...
she's even got the wound on her arms. Now that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All covered in dirt.
Which...
Hold on, can we just stand right here and look this way and look at the moon shining?
I know something kind of creepy. It's not really
Ooh,
it's a
pig.
story as much as it's a lullaby.
We should find some,
Go ahead.
Okay. Was asleep beneath the trees. Bats all out swaying in the breeze. But once all as anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of fools has and wake. Frigid dolly policy has come, so Galahad tremble alone for the winter. Timeless pale, fading on the road. He comes, he'll go, leave not behind a heartache road. Deep, deep road.
Nice.
Words are
Ah,
silent for the
I'm
night.
gonna murder your family.
It's Jason.
But once all lies anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of fools has and ways. Now to Dolly Pally, shut your eyes, lie still, lie silent, utter no cries, for the vision, brave and bold, Aiden gonna go. He'll chop and slice you, cut and dice you, eat you whole.
Get your ass away from me.
Nice. You actually memorized those lyrics?
Yes. Okay, so I sang that song the entire time I was in the mental institution. So, needless to say, like, I totally acted as crazy as possible. Like, I was just like, you know what, I don't have to pretend for anyone. I don't have to pretend to be any form of normal. So I twirled my hair around my finger and sang that song in front of all the crazy people.
Ah,
Damn.
don't shoot me, damn it!
It was fun.
Alright.
Wow.
Though I didn't get, though at one point I remember huddling against the window because we weren't allowed to go outside the entire week that I was there. So I was like, the sunlight is amazing, there's a window. Honestly, the being in the mental institution made me worse off than I was before going in.
Yeah.
Well, you think that's worse? I had like Sorman as my friend.
Who?
I swear to God, you don't know who he is. I'm blasting his face off.
Alright,
Random.
speaking of creepy and spooky stories, there was this one guy in Highland, right? He swears that he has a devil in him, and the devil made him want to touch little kids.
Dude, right in front of you. Dude with the coat. He got the mask.
You want to
on.
touch little kids?
That's Andrew over there. He's pulling out the lantern.
Oh shit. Scared me.
I didn't scare you.
No, I was like, it's scary.
But no, this guy, like every single time he walked past me, he was like, I don't want you to think of me like the guy that diddled you when you were a kid. And I'm just like, fuck you, asshole. Like, I actually got super mad. I yelled at this guy and I told him to shut the fuck up or I was going to make him shut the fuck up. I almost got violent with him.
Jeez.
They had to send him to his room. Yep.
Wow.
So
No!
I
No! He's off my
recently
clip.
discovered that pedophiles are a trigger for me. I don't like them, and they make me crazy. So
Go.
Ugh.
Jesus, that landed far.
they make me a little violent too.
Uh-huh. Damn.
Yeah. But now, like, he was, like, there was, and I mean, yes, there, like, in his perspective, like, I can kind of see it in a way. Make a kinky baby, tie me up, throw me on the back of your horse, smack my ass.
It won't let me tie her up.
I know, it wouldn't let me tie you up either, I tried.
Here, let me try with him.
Why'd you pull me off of my seat?
I can't climb anything. What is this?
It'd be fun.
Yes, this is very fun. You just look like a worm.
Hey, that's my tent. Don't be bringing any women to that somebody else's tent. It's not your tent.
Fine, come here.
Covered in mud.
Come here. If you won't let you bring women.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Arthur doesn't swing that way.
Where's my fish? I want to see if I can bring my fish.
You almost shot me, you dick. Like, you literally, that bullet grazed my hat. Like,
Jason has a fish. I love this fish. This is like,
okay.
shot my fish, you ass.
Yeah.
Shot my fish.
So we shared ghost stories. Now let's see about finding creepy places.
Where?
I'm
Here?
like covered in mud. There has to be a way to take a better shower than this one.
You can actually jump in the swamp over here. Just watch out for gators.
I don't have any ghost stories because
Are you gonna kill the gators if I take a bath?
Well, we can.
I'll use my fish as bait.
I would like
Start over here if you want to. Go ahead.
what I did last year on Halloween, or what I was going to do just to mess with my friend. I told him that I was going to dress up as Pennywise, go to his house, and look in his window. And I was on Halloween. I didn't do that because I'm pretty damn lazy. He hears a bang against his window. He sent me a message saying, "Was that you, Sean? I swear to God." And out of nowhere, it's like I took a picture of me in my room, and he looks outside of the damn branch. It was directly on Halloween, and when it was raining.
Something that I've always wanted to do for Halloween, just to scare little children, because fucking hate kids. Well,
I would dress up as Bigfoot and make monkey noises.
what I want to do is it's a co-op. I don't know that. It would be a co-op Halloween costume type thing. I want to dress up as I want somebody to dress up as a serial killer, and I want to be their hostage in the and their victim in the making. I want to be screaming, bound and tied up with blood all over me in the background every time he opens the door to give out candy. And I want him to be like covered in blood.
Oh, nice.
I want to do it in real life.
And he's got his mask on.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Right? That would be scary because, serial killers are a real thing that people... I just took a bath! Really?
I'm sorry.
I was gonna laugh.
No, I don't think she can.
I can.
Oh,
Your
I'm
stuff
sorry
is
for getting you dirty.
Okay, better
Uh, it looks like you need a bath. Hold on, I know how to help you.
Fish.
You're gonna drown me.
No! No, my fish! My fish! Did nobody else see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's like, ah,
Come, bitch. Come. Alright, it won't let me.
Albert. Andrew, I have an elephant rifle on me.
I don't think we can hurt him because he's on passive.
I am? Ah!
Is that why you gave me last night?
Yep.
Wait, I'm passive?
Yes.
I am? How? Hold on, how do you take that off?
No, he's not passive. They can't pick us up.
Well, I was still able to take damage.
Turn the flag off real quick.
No.
There we go.
You bitch.
Oh, is your head gone?
I don't know.
There we go.
Too bad you can't pick up my mask and keep it.
I know, right? Just like fucking, just...
Ugh.
Who here has, Friday the 13th game?
I do. I don't really play it though.
I know, but we should play it
Yeah, you're my boy.
Ah! No! Why? Why are you all bullies to me?
I was actually trying to punch you.
Yes, by putting your hands around me.
You should check your crap. If you did already.
Can I have
Check.
an
What am I
invite
supposed
the
to check?
posse, please?
Your thing is halted.
What? Why?
Production is halted.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm drowning! That was mean.
Did you kill him?
Not intentionally.
Bullshit!
Not intentionally. Where is he? I don't see him. It's freaking me out.
He's over here.
I don't know, I just did a pretty damn good looking outfit. Especially this hat I got for free.
Dick, I'm gonna try to kill you.
You didn't see it.
God damn it.
Is it because I have my Jason mask on?
They actually fixed the Lancaster this game. You can't shoot repeatedly fast anymore.
This lady. Oh, it's that naturalist lady.
Oh, whoa, she's across the river. I just realized that.
And is it? Did you not realize she's been here?
No, pay attention to that.
Oh, fair.
You should find some Easter eggs. Some scary shit. I mean, I know there's one cave on this map I know. You get attacked by muskrats.
Oh my.
I can see you just running, Andrew.
Hold on. Grabbing stuff. Jesus. Hi, horse.
Whose horse is this?
Yo, Andrew, how dare you? Okay, never mind. That's my horse.
Where the hell am I? Hold on a minute. Hey.
Come here.
I like people.
I'm literally aiming my gun. I see Arthur Morgan just like across my head.
Okay. As much as I want to stay and enjoy this thing, I have to go because I have to work today.
Okay. We'll do this. We'll do some more. We'll do some more ghost stories tomorrow.
Albert, did you slap that trace in?
I'm gonna look at it here in a minute.
Look at it, dude.
Good night.
Good night, Wisp.
Albert.